This is Bishop Tanya Rawls. She is the founder of the Transgender Law Center, even though she doesn't appear to be transgender because it's not mentioned anywhere in her profile. And it seems that she's a lesbian because she appears to have a lesbian partner. She founded two places in Charlotte. One was she's founded many places, but two in particular was the Sacred Souls Community Church and the Freedom Center for Social Justice. Social justice is let me there's a user called T. Dumsford, if you recall, in the beginning videos, who was the moderator of both the Against Hate subreddits and Cuckold Beta Bitches. And he describes himself as being an adherent of social justice. And here's kind of a description of the kind of things he says. Hate speech is not open dialogue. There is no room in polite society for bigotry or oppression of any kind. Racists and bigots have discovered they can hide behind this cloak of free speech and different opinions to spread their message. Nah, you're damn right we'll do whatever it takes to shut them down. And usually the way they accomplish that is by hijacking subreddits. I think this is one that was hijacked, but either way, it's one that he and a few other of the power mods here are running together. And if you look, there's not much content, but if you look in the sidebar, it says, a fun place for pics and videos that celebrate white people doing what they do best. Duncan. And that looks like mockery, and let's look at how this guy lives his life. I've been on hormones for almost a year, and now I have a micro penis, and my ball sack looks like a walnut. Anyone have good resources for do-it-yourself reassignment surgery, aka the meat cleaver method? Sweetums, I got a surgery date. Keep pretending you're trans, you dumb AGPs. I'll mail you my dick after I make a neo dildo out of it. Hey Violet, you still want a testicle? I'm gonna put a little orange troll wig and draw a cartoon face on it for you. And this person here's their Twitter profile. So you see, they describe themselves as social justice wingnut. You know, you see the name matches, and here's the old pictures. And he posts these weird messages down here. We are just constellations. Together we make a shape. We are a picture of humanity. Don't waste that. Every when we smile at someone, it comes back. Every time we care about someone, someone cares about us. Expect greatness. Expect innate better nature, whatever. Signing off, M. It's weird, like, drivel. And this person, they alienated all of their friends because of their beliefs a few months ago. And one of them wrote up this essay to them, you know, telling them about their feelings. I'll read it to you now because I think it's well written. It's really accurate. Hi guys, I'm noted psychologist Dr. Angus Rape. Emphasis on the psycho. You wouldn't believe the loonies I've studied. This one, boy, it's a doozy, my students. I've followed a particular case study quite closely, and I'd like to give you all my professional insight and diagnosis. But first, let me paint a picture, a grotesque imagine of a shell of a human being sent down the depths of madness. It's time for another good raping. Imagine going through life without accomplishment. Middle-aged, unknown, unloved, uncared for. Imagine going through life where your only claim to fame was drug abuse, getting divorced, and spending your nights nursing a bottle of alcohol, your brain streaming in sorrow as you contemplate your pitiful place in society and your isolation as a human being. You failed. Nobody gives a jack shit about you, other than your good friends Jack Daniels, Samuel Adams, and even the good Captain Morgan himself. Their company is a temporary panacea for your existential anguish, but a nightmare for your tortured liver. No matter how much you drink, you cannot wash away the one simple realization. You are a piece of shit. You couldn't please a woman. Hell, you couldn't even be a halfway decent husband. You're a deadbeat to your kid. What do? If only. If only you were a woman instead of a man. Even spending all day on Reddit moderating a million subreddits while sipping fermented Nippenth can't give you meaning. You failed at life and you failed hard. The people you know on Reddit, you have some good times, tell a few good jokes, laugh at offensive things together, all in good fun, mind you, but alas, it is just not enough. And your health, a reminder of man's mortality, your mortality, your wasted life. You wasted your life. You've done jack shit with it. You couldn't please a woman and were a shitty husband. You barely see your kid or kids. Each day is as torturous as your last. And you've left the same legacy as Ozymandias, but you're still fucking alive. You're staring down the gates of hell, and you're completely unloved and forgotten about the world. Illness takes hold, and you take a peekaboo down the barrel of eternity, and gulp hard. You fuck the only chance you'll ever have up, good and hard. What do? Now, if you said suicide, you might be correct, but my students, you must remember there is more than one way for the psyche to die. Twisting under the strain of life led like a loser, one can kill themselves merely by becoming someone else, a sort of adult fantasy play where they pretend they are something other than the loser they actually are. To adopt a new persona, to imagine yourself like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You decide that not only is that who you are now, but it's who you always were. And you just want to proclaim out to the world this new you. And so you make sure everybody knows. You stop staring down the barrel of eternity and slap Homer Simpson's makeup gun on it and point it at the face, and what comes out isn't sweet relief, but a sad mimicry of a woman. Doubtlessly someone in this condition would use the same makeup and that other sad sacks of shit have traveled down this road have. Bright, garish lipstick that neither matches the face nor the clothing ensemble, which is a too large blouse shoplifted from the thrift store. Instead of properly conditioning and shampooing wet hair that remains on the head, you let it grow long and scuzzy. You failed as a man, so now you try your hand as a woman, though you're only doomed to fail that twice as hard. And it's good at first. You're accepted by whole new communities. They feed the underlying narcissism behind the shitty masquerade. They provide affirmation and validation you've never had nor deserved before. It's therapeutic. It makes you feel good, wanted, desired, and loved. Like you belong. You and your new community on the very frontiers of human existence. Were you ever a sad sack of shit? No, society was oppressing you. You're not the problem, they are. The reason you were a sad sack of shit is because society didn't accept you for what even you didn't realize what you were. Down goes the estrogen pills, down the gullet, down the hatch. Down they go with a swig of whiskey. The pantomime of femininity grows more and more fervent as you proudly show off the world the new breasts that represent the new you. You must show everyone must see, this glorious achievement that will win you countless Facebook likes, retweets, and upvotes. The attention is on you. For the first time in your life, you've received attention from other people, and it feels so good. The act of belonging to this new community, this cult, is not without its old requirements. Certain orthodoxies must be adhered to, or the likes and retweets might stop. Rambling on loudly, your new friends must see and hear about hate speech in regards to comments you yourself would have laughed at if not actually said. Your newfound hypocrisy is of little consequence when you're so greedy for the affirmation you've never felt in your squandered youth. Sure, you can try to reconcile that with your old friends through some rather unconvincing wordplay, equivocation, and personal revisionism, but that only deserves a half-hearted effort. After all, unlike your new friends, where they pass around insincere encouragement and ego-flattering remarks, they won't cheer to your booby pictures nearly as hard. The gas pedal is labeled narcissism, and baby, it's pedal to the metal time. And you floor it, and suddenly it takes up all your mental energies. How you are oppressed, how you've been oppressed all your life, how Baba Pence is going to fly in on his jetpack and give you electroshock therapy. Now, how he's actually been hunting you across the galaxy since you were born. Your friends scream shrilly about Nazis in the closet and under the bed. Why, that's your boogeyman too. After falling asleep with bottle in hand, too drunk to realize it's rolling across the floor, leaking the only friend you've had from the old days still remaining, you have a fever dream of Donald Trump goose-stepping around, shoving men in cheap dresses and Goldilocks wigs into the gas chamber, and you awaken in a cold sweat startled with fright. It may have been just a dream, but when you're mentally ill, when you're so fucked in the head and self-centered, It actually was your personal reality, and you're going to make sure it's other people's reality too. But deep down you know the cruel dark reality of your own existence. You're a middle-aged, gross, used-up man past the prime of his life, and your prime was any other man's wilderness years. You look in the mirror, and it's never enough. The stubble comes back sure as Sisyphus' boulder rolls downhill. The makeup looks all wrong, because it's meant to complement feminine features, but you possess none of those. Every night you look in the mirror, and you try to ignore the screaming in the back of your mind telling you look like Dr. Zaius in drag. Your penis, which never saw much use, lays between your legs like some vestigial appendage, reminding you that this is never who you actually were, as much as you want it to be the you now. At this point, the pedal is pushed so hard your foot goes through the floor, the fantasy play and pretend exaggerated female signifiers and behaviors become more and more intense as you try to keep the Disneyland magic going in spite of the perverse truth. This, my students, is the sad case of T. Dumsford. Do not feel too sad for him, however, my students. They say laughter is the very best medicine. Oh, no, no, not for him, silly, no, for us. Laughter is the best medicine for the ordinary person to deal with the ridiculously absurd and pathetic. The real victims are us, for we are forced to share this world with an insufferable, self-righteous, narcissistic prick compensating for his wasted life and wasted liver. Now that's what his old friends are saying about him. And look what he's up to now. Well, I lay on a chrome table today while people drew on my scrotum with purple Sharpies and took pics with iPhones. T-1 month. And here he claims that he's having his tumor billed at his testicle removal billed as a tumor for insurance purposes. And that sounds like insurance fraud to me. Which brings me to this last clip here, which I think describes it pretty well as well.
Our Billy wasn't born a criminal, Clarice. He was made one through years of systematic abuse. Billy hates his own identity, you see, and he thinks that makes him a transsexual. But his pathology is 1,000 times more savage and more terrifying.